Hey everybody, Dr. Steve Tullius here. I haven't done a live in a while, so I thought I'd share with you what happened at tonight's workshop. I gave a Unraveling Neurodevelopmental Disorders workshop, the presentation I've given probably close to 100 times, both here in San Diego and also different locations throughout the country. And about 15 minutes into the presentation, my computer decided to shut down for some updates, and so I was without my computer, without my presentation, and so instead of taking 5-10 minutes to get it rebooted and set up, I decided instead just to move forward and to give the information that I know I have in my head and in my heart. And so I want to give you a recap of what I shared. I didn't have all my slides, all the science and all the research and that presentation all laid out perfectly. Instead, I had the core message that I believe everyone deserves to hear. And number one is that we are having an epidemic of sick children. 54% of our kids are sick in this country. Between one of 20 chronic health conditions, obesity, neurodevelopmental disorders, 54% of our kids are sick, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about those statistics. We're distracted by so many other topics, and nobody wants to talk about how 54% of our kids are sick. We need to start talking about that, and the narrative is regarding those kids is that it's all genetic. That we have all these genetic situations that are all primarily genetically driven. But there's a problem with that. If all these conditions, all these situations, neurodevelopmental disorders and other conditions were all genetically driven, then how could you have such a huge increase in the last several decades? It's impossible to have an a genetic epidemic. You cannot have a genetic epidemic. Our genes don't change that quickly. Yet something is changing quickly, and that's our environment. The studies coming out that are looking at these topics, looking at these rises, are saying that it's our environment that's causing these situations. And so we need to be having those conversations. Of course, those people that are in organizations that are most negatively affecting the environment, the huge corporations that profit off of people being sick, that profit off of dumping toxins into our environment, they don't want to have that conversation. And of course, they are in the pockets of our politicians. And so we need to be having those conversations as people who care about our children and people who care about the future of our country and the future of the world. We need to be having those conversations. And so we talked about that. We talked about this epidemic. We talked about the narrative that we're being told, that these are genetically driven situations. And I'm not saying that genetics aren't important. The genetics are important. Like in my son's situation, who has an autoimmune condition that's caused massive problems for him due to the environment. He does not detox well. He has a genetic situation where he doesn't detox as well as, say, maybe perhaps you or I. And so here's the problem, though. Is that a genetic situation, or is that an environmental, is that a social situation? One in which a child like my son and many others, many of your children who normally wouldn't have had a problem 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, now it's a huge deal. This is why we're seeing the rise, because we're having a progressively sick, toxic environment. And so we need to start asking the tough questions. Is it smart to put things like 5G wireless into our cities and bombard our bodies with these EMFs? The science and data would say no, it's not. Is it smart to have our food supply injected with hormones and all these and fed basically crap? Is this what the way that we were designed to live in a healthy manner? I don't think so. We're seeing the rise of these epidemics, and so we're seeing also a rise in a lot of gut disorders, a lot of gut dysfunction. That was the next topic in the talk. We need to heal the gut. Many of these children with various neurodevelopmental challenges have major gut issues that's being unrecognized and not taken care of because, again, the doctors are telling everybody that this is a genetic situation. There's nothing that can be done except managing symptoms and not recognizing that that there's multiple health systems, whole body health systems are being impacted, like the gut, the digestive systems, the detoxification systems, the immune system, the nervous system. And so the nervous system was the next topic. The autonomic nervous system, that autonomic system that does everything automatically for us, the system that we don't think about because it's running in the background, that system that's divided into two sides. One's the fight or flight side, that sympathetic nervous system, which we all are very intimately familiar with because most of us living this modern day lifestyle are stuck in a fight or flight physiology between our works, our lives, relationships, social media. Kids today, I just had a 15-year-old child start care who has a reverse curve. She has x-rays of her spine and showing a reverse curve of her neck, which normally doesn't happen unless someone has been exposed to an intense trauma, injury, a motor vehicle accident, that sort of thing at that young age. And so she's also having major anxiety in some other situations. It all appears to be caused by looking down at a cell phone. Look at what's happening in society today just with that alone. Our kids are addicted to these things, and companies and corporations are creating these systems and apps and programs designed to get us addicted to these things, and it's at the detriment of our health. So we need to start to try to limit that exposure. And guys, we have to look at it. Parents, we have to look at it and ask ourselves, who's the model of that behavior? And I know that I've been addicted to this thing I'm chatting with you on, using in a positive manner right now, but I know that I used to use it as my alarm clock, and the very first thing I'd open was that social media. I'd go to that same thing and see how many, who's commenting, who's liking, all these conversations and things that normally would never even enter our mindset. Now it's entering our mindset, so we need to shift that. So that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight physiology, we're stuck in it, guys, and that physiology is there for our survival. Okay, that's there for response to danger or threat. But our nervous system is like broken record sometimes. When we have chronic stress, we get stuck in a pattern that we stay in, which is chronic stress response. Adrenaline secretion, cortisol. We get these stress hormones. Our physiology changes. Our heart rate goes up. The blood flow goes away from our prefrontal cortex to our cerebellum. It goes away from our digestive organs to our muscles so we can run or fight. And that's positive if there's a tiger. But if there's not a tiger, if it's just regular everyday life and we're living in chronic fight or flight, our bodies are going to break down. And if it's children, their nervous systems, their brains are not going to develop. They're going to display behaviors like anxiety, focus issues, yourself. You're not going to sleep well. All these different factors involved in normal health and physiology are going to be massively impacted, because once that tiger is gone, we should go into the other side of the nervous system, the autonomic system, which is the parasympathetic, which is the resting, healing, digesting, and development side of our physiology. And that's where our body regenerates, where it grows. It's where it seeks social engagement, not when we're in fight or flight. We're not interested in relationships. We're interested in survival. Parasympathetics, that side, that vagal tone, the vagus nerve, is involved in the regulation of and homeostasis and balance, so our body can repair, regenerate, and thrive. So my question to you is what do you believe you're designed for? Do you believe you're designed for survival? Because I know that's certainly where a large percentage of people currently find themselves, in simply surviving instead of thriving. And I believe that you and all of us were designed to thrive, that our natural state is one of health, and we keep putting all these things in the way, all these things of interference in our diet, in our environment, in our technology, interfering with our naturally innate response, which is one of health, vitality, happiness. And so I encourage you guys is to make sure that you're weeding out those interferences. Make sure you're getting rid of the bad things in your diet and adding good stuff, clean nutrition, basics, water, good sleep, all the basics. You already know them. Making sure that that gut is well, and making sure that you have good nervous system health. People come to my workshops, and maybe you that you're watching right now, people think chiropractic is about is about pain, but it's about the brain. It's about the nervous system health and function, and I get it. My profession is at fault for telling you it's about pain. You look anywhere on most websites, and you'll see a message about pain, 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 and I'm here to tell you that that's not where my profession started, nor is it where it should be. The profession started by helping sick people get well. And it did so by removing interference to the nervous system and restoring life in that fashion. And here's what happened. In 1970s, insurance came onto the scene. And guess what? They started to reimburse chiropractors for musculoskeletal complaints, for pain, because that was the method of containing a profession that was getting sick people well. And unfortunately, people weren't principled enough to stick to the core tenets of this profession, and instead they chased the money, they chased the insurance reimbursement, and that's where my profession slid down into this path of musculoskeletal box that many people want to put chiropractic in, that chiropractors put themselves in. And I'm here to share that chiropractic is not about pain. It's about the brain. It's about restoring the regular nervous system function, restoring health, removing interference, allowing the body to restore and rebuild itself through this amazing nervous system we don't usually think about. I mean, how many people have had the nervous system checked this year? You know, people get their blood pressure checked, they get their lungs checked, they get their heart checked, they get their, all these different things checked, but how many people are actually checking the nervous system? And checking the nervous system doesn't mean an MRI. An MRI is just looking for pathology. It's looking for problems that have already become too advanced. We're talking about looking at the quality of the information traveling over and through that nervous system. Messages from your brain telling your heart how to work, your liver how to function, your digestive organs how to digest your meals, and information coming from your cells of your body to your brain, right? This is how it works, guys. We don't often think about it, but this is how it works. That information, this information exchange is constantly happening, giving you a picture of your environment and allowing your body to thrive and rebuild and regrow and regenerate. And instead, most of us are just surviving. And so I encourage you, wherever you're at, whether you're here in San Diego or if you're somewhere throughout the country or internationally, let me know how I can help. If you have a cousin, friend, uncle, aunt, any part of the country, you need a real chiropractor. A chiropractor is looking for interference in the nervous system, who's looking for vertebral subluxations, these misalignments that are causing nerve interference. Let me know. Send me a message on Facebook here and I will help find you somebody. Go to ifcochiro.org and you can find a chiropractor who actually practices chiropractic the way it was designed and the way it was meant to actually help people that are looking for subluxations, that are removing nerve interference, and not simply to help kind of mask your pain through some temporary pain relief. And so I appreciate you all watching tonight. Please, if you find this information valuable, if you think other people need to hear it, because I certainly do, please like, comment, and share with others and help this message get out there. I appreciate you all watching tonight. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your night. Bye.